Hi, welcome to Above Deck, a below deck breakdown podcast. I'm Sarah Goldman, a photographer living in Charleston, South Carolina, and with me is my college roommate and co-host, Kelly.
I'm Kelly Busby, a former radio host and current volleyball mom, coming to you from my home studio in Columbus. Together, Sarah and I hosted the Sax with Sandals radio show on WFAL in Bowling Green, Ohio, and we are back again this week to discuss Below Deck and our love of all things Bravo.
Today we'll be discussing Below Deck Med Season 9, Episode 6, Running After Time.
Here's your recap. Aesha talks to both of her stews and asks Bree to not sleep in the boys' cabin. Ian drops the ball on deck several times, and Captain Sandy isn't happy. The guests enjoy Jono's food and an excursion to a cave, and a major mechanical issue prevents the anchor from lifting. So, Sarah, this episode.
I loved it. I love the cave. I was okay with the stew fighting because I think we're kind of getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Jono did great. He had kind of like a redemption episode.
I was so proud of him. He did really, really good. Yeah.
Overall, good episode. What'd you think?
Yeah. That was great. It was good. This whole Bree and Ellie thing is very divisive. It's almost like the Coke versus Pepsi.
Yeah. Totally.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Into that. So when the episode begins, Bree and Ellie are in laundry and they're arguing. And we did a poll last week. Whose side are you on? And it was 80% in Bree's favor. And I was really surprised about this because I said last week I'm Team Ellie. Were you surprised by this?
Not really. And only because Bree admitted to what she did. She apologized and was willing to move on. I think that was like the biggest thing of it, right?
Oh, that's a good
Ellie,
point.
on the other hand, would not, as Elsa would say, let it go. She just would not. It was just like dog with a bone. So, I mean, I think that might be where people are coming from.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, they are both wrong. I mean, Ellie is letting their personal lives and what they do on their night off affect how she's working with Bree. But then Bree is acting like she's so surprised that hooking up with Joe would cause conflict with her coworker, you know?
But this happened, like in a week and a half's time of them all being together? Like, it's just a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. So for breakfast, Jono does lobster Benedict. The eggs are served warm this time.
Good job. I noticed something with Jono.
Okay.
He and I are very much alike. When we eat something that makes us happy, that tastes really good, we dance. Like, I usually I noticed this during the pandemic and it hasn't gone away. Whenever I get margaritas, or just singular, we can go singular margarita and some chips and some cheese dip and some delicious tacos. It's just makes me wiggle. Like, I just get so excited. I just sit there and I'm like, So what is there a food that makes you happy? Like, makes you dance in your chair?
I love like a bowl of Chex Mix, like homemade Chex Mix.
Yes.
Popsicle. Love a good popsicle when it's hot.
Yeah.
I don't think I dance though. So I'm gonna have to pay attention when we're together next and watch you eat.
We're gonna have to
Maybe I'll go back to the Instagram live and see if you danced when you tasted the French toast.
I may have.
You may have done a little something. I don't know. So Aesha tells the guests they are going to Moni Island to swim in a cave. And charter guest Marcia is worried about getting her hair wet. She calls it her peacock.
I love her aura. I love her essence. I love her aesthetic. I just love her. But I get the whole not wanting to get the hair wet thing.
Yeah.
That takes some time.
I do and I don't. I guess I don't care that much. I will always get in the water. I will always get my hair wet. But I mean,
she's one that is, her entire life has been around image.
Yeah.
There's a look. Yeah. So
for sure. So Ellie tells Aesha that the Bree situation is getting out of hand and she's now sleeping on the floor of the boys' cabin. Aisha's pretty shocked about this. And Aesha tells her, we just got to get on with it, get through this charter, and we'll deal with it after the guests leave.
Yeah. So Ellie tells Aesha that Bree is telling her that she belittles her.
Mm-hmm.
And Aisha's response was so like chef's kiss. Like I was so proud of her. She's like,
Yeah.
"Are you belittling her?" And Ellie
No.
responds, "No, no, I'm not that person." And I just am curious, like how many people are like, "Are we? You sure?"
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's fine.
It's gonna
We're
be
getting
kind
there.
of fun to see like how Aisha, what she thinks like now watching what went
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
So
for sure.
Bree talks to her mom, and her mom says, watch how you say things. You don't want to come off too cheeky. So, by the way, I love how it's always this time in the season where the producers try to show kind of some backstory of why a crew member is the way they are. And no, Chloe, we're not going to bark. Bree blames her boarding school for drilling hierarchy into her, and she had to hold doors open for older kids or she'd get bullied. It was a bit of a reach for me.
I can see how this might help Bree and her understanding of how the boat hierarchy works and
Yeah,
everything. But I just think that she is used to a different world than most of us. I mean, like her laundry, she told us it was done. She would like
it
leave
was
it
done
out and
for
it'd
her.
come back and it was done, folded and put away for her. So,
Yeah,
she's just in it from a different world, and that's okay. We all have different experiences.
yeah, for sure. Anyway, this was just kind of a funny backstory for me.
Yeah.
Sandy thinks the deck team is taking too long to get ready for the cave excursion, and Ian is kind of farting around in his room. And Sandy walks down to the swim platform and finds the floating dock is still up top,
Yeah.
where this is where Ian told the deckhands to leave it.
Weird.
And I know we've not seen this before. And she's like, no way, get it down below. It
Right.
should be set up like you're going to launch from the floating dock.
Right.
And so they go get, Ian finally gets out there and she tells Ian, this is how it is.
Yeah.
And now the guests are waiting while the deckhands have to assemble this floating dock.
I do have a question. Where have they usually gotten on tenders from the floating dock? I can't
I don't
remember.
know. I
I
don't
can't
know. I feel
remember.
like usually we see people kind of struggling, like walking on the floating dock. So
That's a good point.
maybe that's usually what they do. I get it would be easier to just step on from the swim platform, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Huh. Okay. Anyway,
He
sorry.
had a plan.
But
Okay.
Ian is told all of this and he is not happy that she has told him what to do. Like, and he's
No, he
kind of
just
being
says
snarky about it.
copy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
So,
doesn't
and
do well
then
with corrections.
no, well, and I'm wondering too if it's because Captain Sandy is a woman.
Let's hope not, but that very well could be. We've all been there.
That's right. That's right. So then Ian is just standing on the platform, like twiddling his thumbs, and Aisha's like, "Are you ready?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Like,
She's like,
come
"Then
get
let
the
the guests
guests.
know." Oh, okay. I really wonder how much longer he's going to be there. I feel like somebody's going to be gone
Yeah.
soon. I think, okay, so we're on episode 6. I say either in the next episode or the episode after. Like in 7 or 8, he'll be gone.
Yeah. I mean, and it depends if she has somebody too, but
Right.
this is a lot of mistakes.
It's
So,
just, yeah, it's a
anyway,
lot.
well, it's time for the cave excursion. Gail, Joe, and Ellie are with the guests, and the guests make their way over to the cave entrance. Some of them are snorkeling. There's several that don't want to get their hair wet. And Gail is loving it. She's totally in love with the water, just feeling
Yeah.
so at home. And now Ellie, on the other hand, Ellie has never been snorkeling before. I don't know how this is possible because she's been
Right.
working on yachts for a long time, but she's been teaching yoga and stuff like that.
Okay.
So Joe kind of lowers her into the water, like holding her life jacket, and she looks like a minion with those yellow goggles. So funny.
She did know that she would be snorkeling with the guests, right? Like that she was going to go in the water. She did know that, right?
Maybe she thought she was just serving drinks and stuff. That's very possible.
That's true. I think she ended up serving drinks in the cave, right?
Oh, maybe I didn't pay attention.
That cave was beautiful. The little
It was
slit in the
cool.
mountain that they were calling a cave, it was beautiful. But the water,
Oh, the water was so
so
beautiful.
clear,
Yeah,
beautiful.
I love it. I would definitely want to do that. So back on board, Aesha and Jono are comparing farts in the galley. Gross. I'm glad that they get each other.
The galley,
Aesha,
though. Ew.
no,
Ew.
gross. They're like, it lingers. Egg fart. Gross. Okay. Aesha confronts Bree about sleeping in the boys' cabin. Aesha asks, "Why are you doing that?" And I love how direct she is.
Yeah.
Bree doesn't really have a good answer. She just says, because it's just fun. And Aesha says, "Listen, like you just have to squash this
Yeah.
beef, and
Yeah.
don't sleep in the boys' cabin. Like that's gonna mess with their sleep. And
Yeah.
if they can't work it out, she's going to have to make some staffing changes. So this is kind of a warning.
Yeah. I'm pretty impressed with Aesha, to be honest.
I am too. So
Yeah.
Ellie talks to Joe about the Bree situation while they're out on the tender. And
Mhm.
she says, "Well, how would you feel if Nathan was sleeping on our floor saying, I just don't feel safe, in there with Joe?" And he was like, "Oh, I would hate that. Like, that would be
Yeah.
horrible." And I thought this was kind of a good point.
Yeah. So I was a little miffed at Joe in this scene, though,
Mm-hmm.
because he said to Ellie, "I have this girl coming into my cabin, crying and moaning, wanting to sleep in our cabin." I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, you were making out with her in the hot tub a night ago.
Right. And the first night, he offered her a spot to sleep. So it was him offering it. She didn't ask. And then the second
Yeah.
night, she asked, and Joe said it was okay, right? Like, did I miss something? I mean, it's fair. I very well could have missed something.
No, I don't think you missed anything.
I'm
Yeah.
like, don't do that.
Well,
Sorry, I
he's
just
kind
hit
of
my
like
microphone.
he plays both sides.
Oh, he knows what he's doing, but it's not a good look on him.
No.
Mm-mm.
So in his green screen, Joe says that he made it clear to Bree that he didn't want anything serious. I don't know that we saw this per se.
Mm-mm.
And he said he is interested in Ellie. Like, who wouldn't be?
So he needs to make sure that he tells Bree this, that he just wants to hang out with Ellie. And I mean, that's going to be a really awkward conversation. I'm going to have my popcorn ready for that because I want to watch.
I know they can't fire Bree before we get into that.
Right? Come on. Hang on for a second, Bravo.
The producers would never.
No.
So back to the boat. It's water sports time, and Bree is still mixing up people's laundry. Their initials are written on the tag of their shirts, and you can tell Aisha's like super annoyed at this point.
Come on, Bree. Like, you're not
Yeah.
helping yourself. Look, the initials, sometimes initials wear off, right?
Yeah.
It is very clearly like written
Yeah.
ED for
Yeah.
Ellie. So,
You think she did it intentionally because it was Ellie's shirt? Maybe not,
probably,
though, because
I
she
don't
wouldn't want to
think
get
so.
in trouble with Aisha.
That's really far forward thinking. I don't know if we're there.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. So Gail tells a story about an injury she had on her last boat. But work is so dangerous. That was awful. She had to have a skin graft.
OMG. First of all, thank you for the warning.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was gnarly. That was such a gnarly gash. She said she was holding like a really heavy piece of metal, like an 80-pound
some kind of metal
block
object.
of metal. I thought she was going to say they handed it to her. She dropped it in the ocean. Like, oh no, she just dropped it and it gouged out part of her leg. Skin graft and stitches and ugh.
Yeah, and she has a big scar from it.
Yeah.
Okay, time for dinner. Aisha isn't sure why the plates and stuff aren't pulled yet. She had asked Ellie like 2.5 hours earlier to do it. And she wonders if maybe Ellie isn't as capable as she lets on. And Aisha just overall very frustrated because she's always having to keep an eye on both Ellie and Bree.
It is clear that there are some things that Aisha needs to address with them.
Yeah.
And now that they have the 3 charters under their belts, she has a better idea of what they can and can't do. Mm-hmm. And it is a good time to chat. And I'm curious how it's going to be next episode.
I know. Me too. I thought it was smart that she said they were going to chat right after the guests leave before the drinking. Like, very smart.
Yes.
So tonight's dinner for the theme is old Hollywood, James Bond, something like that.
Okay.
Joe and Gail have some boy talk out on the swim platform, and he asks some advice about the Ellie situation. And he wonders if maybe he can pursue things with her, like how that would go.
I love having boy talk with my friends who are boys. Like, that's just...
Yeah. Treat
It's
me
the
like one of
best.
you. I want to hear your inner thoughts. So Ian asks Joe if he's ready for the performance tonight. Wait, what? Performance?
Dude, how many balls can Ian drop in one day? Let me count the ways. 1, 2. We'll just keep that counter
Third one's
going.
yet to come.
Yeah.
So he has to play Happy Birthday. I wouldn't really call this a performance, but okay. So did you know that the Happy Birthday song was copyrighted for a really long time, and it was so expensive to like get the rights to it that like you often do not hear it in movies or TV shows? Did you ever notice that?
Now that you mention it, yes.
And I think it's only recently that it's become like public domain again.
Oh,
So
and get out of town. That is so interesting.
yeah,
I wonder
think
if
you know
that's
what
why
I
we
mean.
always hear for he's a jolly good fellow instead
Right.
of happy birthday.
Yeah, or something that's like happy birthday, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. The Chi
Something
Chi
like that.
song. Uh, uh,
Is Chi Chi
um,
still around?
no. You can
Okay.
buy their stuff in the grocery store,
Okay.
but it's always a good way to sing happy birthday.
I always wanted to try their fried ice cream. I never got to try that.
I think there's a recipe online. I'll find it. I'll send it to you.
Okay. It sounds really hard to make. No? Okay.
I'll
Well,
get it to you.
I'll have to Google it. I don't know how you fry ice cream. I think it would just be like a milkshake, but okay. Okay, so Joe shares that he is an entertainer because of his mom. We're learning a
Okay.
lot about the crew this
Yeah.
episode. So his mom has suffered from fibromyalgia, and I don't know if she is bedridden or she has
Yeah.
been periodically. And so he always kind of acted as her entertainer. This is sweet.
I thought that was really, really sweet. I will say that he looked very cute sitting there playing the piano
Mm-hmm.
and could entertain me any day of the week. But that little smile of his while he was playing, I'm like, okay.
So cute. So the guests really love the first course, and Sandy and Aisha overall are very happy with Jono, this charter,
Yeah.
and his presentation is a lot better.
Huge difference. Well done, Jono. Well done. Cheers. This is iced tea, by the way, not whiskey.
Oh, could have fooled me. Okay, the primary is getting a little tipsy, it seems, at dinner,
Yeah.
and she pretends like she wants to jump overboard. This was kind of a strange moment. And then she's discussing Trishelle's Playboy days, and then she does the splits like Kyle on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and then she starts doing like Pilates hundreds, like this. And her husband's really annoyed, and I say, like, let her be silly, have fun. Like, we're on vacation.
So annoyed. It was
Yeah.
kind of funny to see how upset he was getting over her just having like living her best life. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
that's like her thing that she does whenever they go party and like he knows that she's hit the point when the splits come out where you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
it's too much. One too many.
Look what I can do. Okay, so now it's time to gather around the piano. The crew sounds terrible.
It's so bad.
It's too low. It's too
Yes.
slow. Kristen
Yes.
Bell always talks about how she hates singing Happy Birthday in like a group setting because people always start at like the wrong key and they're
Yes.
way too slow.
Yes.
Gonna like drag it out forever. So this was
It was
yeah.
so painful, Sarah. Oh my gosh. Like it was so rough. And like being people who have played music publicly and
Mm-hmm.
performed quite a bit and lived that life, that was hard.
It was really, really bad. So the next day, everyone slept well, especially because they didn't have Bree sleeping on the floor.
That's right.
Um, I love the scene with Nathan and Joe saying they will meet each other halfway. And they're just so adorable. No, bro, I'll meet you halfway.
You're halfway. Their
Meet you
bromance
halfway.
is really quite amazing. Like they hit it off right away. Day one, almost the first minute they were
Mm-hmm.
together. It's amazing. Nathan said it was something spiritual. Joe said he felt like he was floating when they met, and then Nathan brought him back down. I mean, these two, real.
No. Sounds incredible. I mean,
I love
wow.
it.
I mean, didn't you feel
Jealous.
like that when you met me that first day and Mac
Absolutely.
East? We were
Yeah.
like, oh, WNCI,
What? Are you hot? I'm
Columbus,
hot. We're
and
sweating.
yeah, we
Central
need air
Ohio.
conditioning.
What?
So Nathan goes to haul the anchor in and it's not working. The
Oh, no.
problem is the starboard windlass. It's not engaging, and we get to see the second officer and the second engineer. I love when we get to see like some
Yeah.
non-cast members.
Yeah.
And it's discovered also that the battery was left on in the tender last night. And so that won't start. And
Three.
Sandy wants names. Yep, we're on third
Three.
strike. She wants to know who the last person was on the tender, and it turns out it's Ian. And I love when Ian says, I was the last one in the tender last night, so I'll take the blame. Yes, Ian,
What?
you
Yeah.
will. You aren't taking the blame. You are to blame.
Did you notice that Nathan, when Sandy asked, he was like, oh, I'm not sure. I was like, yes, you do. You know.
He didn't want anybody to get
He
in
didn't want to
trouble.
say anything.
Yeah. So they rig up a line to haul the starboard anchor with the port windlass, and then the line snaps and the anchor just starts falling back in the water to be continued.
That was intense. And they couldn't get the brake on. I mean, it was just crazy. Now, did you notice Sandy? I think it was Sandy said, we need Luca here. And I was like, well, hold up. Which Luca? Butterfly Luca? Butterfly on the chest Luca? Or somebody else Luca? We need clarification.
Oh, I think I saw it was one like either the engineer or the other guy. His name was Luca also.
Oh, I'm so excited for a heartbeat.
So sorry
like,
about
so
that.
excited.
Yeah, but would like to see Luca. It's now time for a segment that we're calling Acting Like Aesha, where we attempt to say an Aesha quote like the Kiwi queen herself.
Work. Just work.
Work. Just work.
Perfect. That's good.
Oh my God, I love the glasses. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love the glasses.
We're getting better. We could
we
totally fit in if we ever went to New Zealand.
Do you think everybody talks like her? I have a feeling that is not the case.
No, I feel like she has a worldly accent.
Yeah, that she has her own style of speech for sure.
It's time for Hot Tub Convo, where we discuss what's happening with our favorite Below Deck cast members.
Last week, we played a clip on the pod, and it was Chase talking to us, and he said he was heading to Grenada. So that message was many days before the devastating Category 4 Hurricane Beryl that hit Grenada. And I just want to let everyone know that Chase is safe. He was not in Grenada. He rode out the hurricane in St. Martin, and he is safe.
Thank goodness.
So we learned from Captain Kathleen, Chase's friend that taught him how to sail, that a lot of sailors ride out hurricane season in Grenada. So there were a lot of cruisers down in that area because it's pretty far south in the Caribbean, and you know the hurricanes usually hit the more like northern part.
Okay.
So there's a GoFundMe by a network of cruises that are down there, and they're working to like resupply the islands that were worst affected by the hurricane.
Okay.
And you can find the link in Captain Kathleen's Instagram bio, and I'll also put a link in the show notes too. And you can find Captain Kathleen at Capt Kathleen. So Capt, C-A-P-T, Kathleen with a K. But she's super fun and very informative follow. So highly recommend.
I'm grateful to hear that Chase was not in the path, because I heard, you know, where they were going. I'm like, time out.
Yeah. Wait a second.
So I'm grateful that he was okay. But yeah, that storm was horrible.
Yeah, I haven't checked in with Chase in the last few days, so I'm not sure if he's like going to take supplies that way, or kind of what his plan is, or maybe he won't go to Grenada, you know, given what's going on. So I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yikes. On a little bit lighter of a note, Chef Marcos is going to be joining Captain Glenn at the Odyssey Sailing Festival in Greece in September. Glenn will be driving one of the boats, and Marcos will be the chef. Cool. How exciting is that?
I know.
You can get more information by going to theoceancruisers.com/odyssey.
This sounds so fun. Like all these
Yeah.
cool catamarans.
Yeah.
And it looks like
So,
they maybe pick a different place each year. So
but Greece, my gosh.
I know we might have to look into that.
Yeah.
So an interview with Kyle Filion Riley came out last week on Pride.com. And in it, he says he was able to reconcile with most of his co-stars from Below Deck Med, including Natalia, Max, and Lara.
Oh, wow.
And he said, unfortunately, with Toomey, this is a quote, "I do not have time for her. Our friendship dissipated into nothing. Miss Thing wanted some clout on Twitter and ran my name to filth. That
Yikes.
type of sneaky behavior I don't deal well with."
Yeah.
So he goes on to say that he has said goodbye to Below Deck, but could we see him on Bravo in the future? And he says, absolutely yes. I'm not going to say where or when. I'm just going to say soon.
Oh.
So what do you
could
think?
It be?
Do you think it's like a little cameo on another Bravo show? I don't think it's going to be Couch Talk or Galley Talk or whatever it is, because that's been, I think, put on pause. So
interesting.
I
don't
know.
even know. Like, I don't even know where to begin. Married to Medicine?
Not sure how that would work out, but yeah, I have no idea. Housewives. He is friends with Jen and Bronwyn. You know, Jen was a charter guest and she's married to Bronwyn from Orange County, but she's not on Orange County anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I'm excited that we might possibly I mean, he can't confirm or deny, but that we could possibly see him on our TV screens again soon. So that's kind of exciting.
I have not taken a deep dive on Twitter to see what Toomey said about him. To see like what he's talking about, but Toomey is our friend, and I can't imagine that she said such horrible things that I'm sure she just said things that actually happened during the season, you know? I don't know. Toomey's a very sweet person, and anyway, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, we might have to do a little diving on what is it called?
We will.
Twitter Twitter.
It's always gonna
check out her zeets. Is it tweets? Is it zeets? I don't even know. Anyway. Yes, I'm a millennial or Gen X or whatever. Leave me alone. Okay. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about Chef Kiko's firing, and we have a listener comment about that from our YouTube channel. So Vicky writes, Kiko and Hannah were both to blame for Kiko's bad Vegas dinner. First, she gave him bad info and had many chances to come clean with Sandy about it, but kept silent the whole time. She was telling Kiko she was there for him. And then, and if he would have just Googled Las Vegas meals, he would have never seen a bunch of fried foods for kids. And then he was the one that came up with Domino brownies for dessert. But Kiko basically quit more than Sandy fired him. He kept saying, and then I leave after this charter, as she just nodded her head, yes.
I didn't remember all of this, so I'm really glad that a couple people reached out to us and like reminded us of what happened. Yeah. All I remembered is that like the Hannah part in it. So I just still feel so sad about that whole situation. But thank you for that reminder. So Kelly, I went sailing with Daisy this week.
And how was that?
It was so fun. It was so the charter group was a group of girls that all know each other from various things, and a few of them were big Below Deck fans, others I'm not really sure. But they were super nice. I was kind of operating as crew, although I didn't do any work on this charter. And then it was their social media person, Avery. So that was really fun. And then Daisy, and then Captain Todd and his wife, Kathy. So nice. It was really fun. The boat is lovely. We actually got to sail. Oh, and good. At one moment, I had Captain Todd say, yeah, baby, like Captain Glenn. And I didn't realize until watching it back, but he looks a lot like Glenn. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
Daisy is still in town. Let's see.
Okay.
I think there's maybe only like one more day to sail with her, but it was
Okay.
almost sold out. I guess by the time you guys are watching this, it will be done.
Yeah.
But it was just really, really fun, and talk to Daisy about just all kinds of stuff, social, like kind of being a social media influencer, and
Yeah.
talked a little bit about how Bonnie's doing. Bonnie's back home now, so that's, or not
Oh,
home, but she's out of the hospital, so
okay.
that's great
Okay.
news.
Okay.
Um and yeah, we talked a little bit about below deck stuff, and of course not any like upcoming below deck things.
Right.
And then we talked about like who else would be a good chief stew to bring out,
Okay.
like if they do this next summer. And Daisy and I both suggested Fraser. Thought that
Oh,
would
that'd
be a
be
really fun
fun.
one. So I'm gonna definitely put a bug in his ear. I also suggested Toomey. I thought Barbie, well, I've already talked to Barbie about it. Well, so we're working on her. And then
Yeah.
I thought Natalia would probably be pretty fun. But
Oh,
really
yeah.
anybody kind of stateside would be easier, like the people
Oh,
that are
yeah.
based in Florida. But
And I think they did it around the 4th last year too, because you were with Madison on my birthday, right?
oh,
So
maybe. Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I
so
just remember it
maybe
was hot.
yes.
So, but yeah, we saw dolphins, and then the
Oh,
sailing was really cool. I did get to like push some buttons and do some things. I don't really know what I was doing, but I just followed the directions.
oh,
Yeah,
fun.
it was really nice. And Daisy signed your cookbook for you, your Galley
So
Girls
excited to make
cookbook.
stuff.
Yeah, the recipes look so good. And Daisy's just been bouncing around to different like nice hotels in town. So I think she's
Her, like,
had a good
testing
time.
out different things, and
I know.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
she stayed at
awesome.
the Wentworth Mansion, which is like a historic house, and then she stayed at the Mills House Hotel one night, I think the first night, and I made sure to tell her like that is on the ghost tour, so I'm just warning you. I don't remember the story, but in case you hear a bump in the night.
It's just
Um
the ghost. It's fine. Tis fine.
yeah, I didn't really like take notes, so I need to put together a little reel still of all like the footage, but it was
Oh,
very, very fun, and I had a great time. Highly recommend Everything Zen Sailing. Super fun.
that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm glad you got to go. Like, that's
I know, it
huge.
was great. It was very.
Oh,
All right, it's time for our segment. Join me in the Wheelhouse, where we decide who needs to see Captain Sandy for a stern talking to. Kelly, who do you choose this week?
I'm kind of torn because one, we know Ian should be up there, right?
Yeah.
Because um, but right now I also want to say Joe because
Okay.
he's being a little like he's not helping the situation at all. Let's be honest.
He's just like,
So,
should I go for Ellie?
dude, like anyway,
Okay, I like those choices this week.
there we go.
That's it for this week's episode of Above Deck. Thank you to our team at Hurrdat Media, especially our awesome producer, Grace. Please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to tell a friend about us, and please rate and review us 5 stars only.
Please follow us on Instagram at Above Deck Pod, and you can email us at abovedeckpod@gmail.com. You can always watch our episodes on the Hurrdat Media YouTube channel. Until next time, I'm Kelly Busby.
And I'm Sarah Goldman. We'll see you next week.